Morning folks, how we doing? I did say it wouldn't be long before I was back out, and what a morning today. What a turnaround as well. Been absolutely pouring down the last 3 weeks, but this morning feels like the first proper day of autumn. Flat calm, loads of mist, and just stunning conditions. I always struggle a little bit to figure out how to start these videos, because a lot of the kind of conventional wisdom you'll see on YouTube is you need to grab people in the first 30 seconds and bang a load of drone footage in and all that sort of stuff. But when it's like this like it is this morning, all I ever want to do is just start taking pictures and forget all the videos. So that's all I've done really, to be honest. I was down the other just round from here trying to do a bit of drone footage, but there was a load of racket behind me. They were doing logging, so yeah, I had to kind of put a stop to that. But yeah, at the moment I'm just down at Ashness Jetty. Now if you're a landscape photographer and you've come to the lakes a lot, you'll know this jetty. It's a classic, well, it used to be a classic view until they rebuilt the jetty, because it had a lot of character, the old jetty. It was rickety and a bit wonky, but they've obviously, for safety reasons, they've put a load of concrete in this one, and it's not as photogenic. It's not one I photographed, to be honest with you, but I've come to the end of the jetty because really all I was interested in this morning is this view towards Skidder, where the mist was. My missus picked me up on the pronunciation of Skidder the other day. If you're a local, you'll call it Skidder. Most people will know it as Skiddaw. Either's fine, to be honest. But yeah, all I've been doing is just keeping it dead simple. 24 to 200 on, shooting long, coming back out at about 50mm, and just capturing that mist as it's been drifting along the lake there. This is a good example of what I was talking about in my last video, in that it's beautiful this morning, obviously, and the conditions have been wonderful, but I'm kind of rooted to the spot, so it's very hard to build a whole video around that. And in the last couple of times that I've tried to do it, it just hasn't really worked. So what I think I'm going to do with the stuff I've done this morning is build it into a wider vlog. So I'll just show you a few of the images that I've been shooting. The mist's kind of drifted off now. It's flat calm. It's lovely, but I've had the best of it already. I'll show you a few of those images, and then I'll join back up with you a little later on. I'm not sure where I'm going to shoot this afternoon, but I really need to get out and take advantage of these conditions, because it's lovely and calm and settled now. So I think what I'll probably do is go for a bit of a recce somewhere, I think. But hopefully you like these. Stunning conditions, absolutely stunning. Morning. So you join me a few days later. Some lovely conditions during that last part of the shoot, but the rest of that day kind of went to blue skies a little bit, and it got a bit busy in the shop, and I never got away in the afternoon, so I had to kind of leave the shooting there for that day. But we're back out again and starting to really get into the peak of autumn colour. I'm going to be very busy the next couple of weeks. I've got 2 back-to-back residential workshops coming up, so I'm trying my best to squeeze in a bit of personal photography over this next 3 or 4 days. I've took some time away from the gallery, and hopefully going to be able to capitalise on these lovely colours that we've got now. This morning I'm just on my way through Borrowdale to a little quarry that I've wanted to shoot for quite a while. I've never actually been to this place, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's been one on my list for a long time, and just for one reason or another, never really got round to it. I did manage to nip out for a shoot the other day, literally half an hour, maybe 40 minutes tops, and the conditions were absolutely gorgeous, but it was pouring down, and I really struggled to, well, I didn't struggle because I didn't even attempt it, to be honest. It was just one of those where video would have been absolutely impossible, and it was a case of really having to knuckle down and concentrate on just getting a couple of good images, which I'm pretty sure I've got. I'll put those on the screen now. To be honest with you, two of the best woodland images I think I've taken, certainly in a long while anyway, so I was really happy with those, but couldn't really make a video out of it. So hopefully you like them anyway. But right now I'm going to get cracking down this track towards the quarry. I'll see you in a bit. So here we are at this lovely little slate quarry. I've been here for about an hour and a half doing bits and bobs, but no video because there was another photographer when I got here, and while I don't mind vlogging in front of people, that doesn't really bother me. The area that you shoot from here is quite small and you're almost on top of each other a little bit, so I didn't really want to disturb him, so he's moved off. So I can talk you through a little bit what I've been doing. I've been shooting a lot of compositions here. There's loads and loads of scope for shooting intimate stuff rather, spit it out. So I've been concentrating on using the 100 to 400 and shooting towards this far slate wall. Some absolutely beautiful colour here, and then we've got the wet slate because it's been pouring down last night, and it's also been on and off rain this morning. Loads and loads of scope, as I say, for shooting intimate stuff. I've been mainly concentrating on this one lone birch that's pretty much peak colour now, and just varying my focal lengths, going in and out, left and right. To the left of that birch there's some really lovely sort of purpley brown hues on the wall, and then to the right of it there's some nice bracken that's turned in really vibrant red and orange colour. So yeah, just been having fun with that really. I can't believe it's been probably about 5 years since I've been to this spot, to be honest. I'd really love to come and shoot it in wintry conditions if I could catch it in some snow or some I haven't really been shooting anything down towards the sort of pond here, but if that was frozen over, I could imagine that would be very nice. I did see an image years ago from absolute master of shooting this stuff, Colin Bell. He got a really lovely shot from in here, I think in winter as well. So I'd love to try and do something similar, but that'll have to wait. If I'm being ultra picky, I could do with a little bit of light here. It's still lovely because using the polarizer is really saturating them colours, and if the light came out, the polarizing effect would be lessened, but I'd have a different version of it. So I'm going to stick it out here for a little while and just see if I can get some light. But in the meantime, I'll put some of these on the screen that I've been shooting, and I'll catch up with you in a bit when I've figured out where I'm going to shoot next. Oh dearie me, this vlog's going to be a bit cobbled together again. You do join me at my next location. We're on the next day now. I'm not going to give you my life story here, but basically I went up King's How yesterday afternoon after you saw me at the last place and got absolutely drowned, and you could say it was a complete waste of time, but this is landscape photography. That is the reality. I can show you a couple of clips of what I was looking at and the conditions that I was kind of working in. The forecast was for it to clear between about 3 and 4 o'clock for about an hour or so, and that was my hope. I knew I was going to get soaked, but I was hoping for a bit of light. So I was up there for probably a good 3.5 hours, just bushwhacking across all sorts of terrain where there isn't any paths, basically, just trying to find a better view in the hope that the light would get out, but it didn't. So here we are, next location. Now this is a bit of an impromptu shoot because I'm actually at a place that's well out of the way from where I normally go to do photography. I'm up at a place called Gelt Woods in just outside Brampton. I'm only really here because my partner, her car needed the windscreen replaced, so I thought while I'm here I'll call in and have a little look at this place. I've seen a few local photographers in the past shooting here, and there's some really interesting little falls and cascades and stuff, and obviously with the autumn colour here I thought it would be a good choice. So I'm going to get going up this path a bit, and I'll check in with you in a bit when I've found something reasonably interesting to shoot. Oh, this is more than a little frustrating. Hopefully you can hear me all right. I'm quite close to the water here. Yeah, I've walked the length of this wood, and what's become blatantly obvious is that all the interest is at the start of the walk. So I've come back down to the bottom end of the woods, hopefully trying to make something work. There's loads of lovely little quaint scenes in here, but compositionally I'm just struggling a little bit. It's a little bit messy, and the flow of the water a lot of the time tends to be flowing away from where a lot of the interest is in the scene. Sorry. So yeah, a little bit tricky, but my first time here, and it's good to get a nice walk in. I tell you what, I wish someone, whoever are the weather gods out there, would get the memo, because it is way too warm for autumn. It's 19 degrees outside when I left the car, and I've got this rain jacket on and I'm absolutely boiling. So yeah, I'm ready for some cold weather. This is unseasonably warm, and you can tell with a lot of the foliage in this wood, there's still a lot of it that's still very green. So yeah, I think this is probably about a week off peak in here. But anyway, I'm gonna just have a little walk along this bottom end of the wood here and try and find something. There's a lot of flow in the water at the minute because I've had a lot of rain, and if I'm being honest, I'm not really drawn to a lot of these cascade type of scenes because there's almost too much water barreling down here. What I might try and find is something a little bit more intimate. Don't know if that's going to work or not, but I'd like to get something from this walk because if nothing else, it's a really beautiful location and definitely one I'm going to come back to. So right, I'm going to get cracking and see if I can find something. Right, so I think I found something here in the nick of time. I'm certainly not reinventing the wheel here with this composition. It's a little on the nose, but I think it works anyway. We've got a really strong diagonal leading from the bottom right to the top left, where the water is flowing, and then up into that top left corner where we've got a lovely patch of colour in the trees there. Every now and again the light keeps popping out. I'm just waiting at the moment for the light to come back out again, and then hopefully we can get a little bit of light illuminating that patch of colour in the top of the frame there. I've just been experimenting with my shutter speeds a little bit because I think I've said in earlier videos that when you've got a lot of water coming down a river like this, you don't really want the exposure going on too long. I'm aiming here for about 1/8 of a second. Now that's reasonably quick, but the water's very quick here, and I want to still see some texture in it. So this shot in itself is actually a bit of a tricky one technically because I'm very close to the foreground here, So it's going to have to be a focus stack, one focused in the bottom left hand corner and then another one sort of in the mid ground. I don't really need 3 frames here for the focus stack, but 2 should be enough. And then I'm going to do a third frame at a faster shutter speed, probably with the ISO up around 640, 800, just to get that faster shutter speed in the water there. Now the only problem again with rivers when they're in spate like this is that they're throwing down a lot of dirt with it. The water is a bit of a mucky colour, so in post I might take a little bit of that out because it's got a very reddy brown colour to it and it's not that attractive to the eye. So we're going to go for this one, polarizer on. This is an ideal case for using the polarizer. You can see here in the camera the effect that the polarizer is having on these leaves that have fallen. Coming into peak autumn colour now, so you really want to bring that out and the contrast in this dark wet rock. So I'll put this on the screen, let me know what you think, and hopefully this salvages a bit of a duff walk.